cut ties with my sister after she slept with my husband and told me to stay out of their business. Years later, they begged me to take care of their son while she recovered from a car accident. I'm 36 now and have been divorced for 3 years. My ex-husband Caleb, also 36, cheated on me with my sister Alyssa, who's 32. That's what destroyed our marriage. Caleb and I met through friends at a party when we were both 25, and we started dating right away. We were together for 3 years before he proposed, and we got married soon after. We were married for about 5 years before I found out he'd been cheating on me with my sister. Caleb and Alyssa first met when I invited him over for dinner at my place. That was 6 or 7 months into our relationship, and by then, we were already serious and wanted to introduce each other to our families. I had already met his parents. He doesn't have siblings, but my family is much bigger. Our oldest brother Eric is 40, and he's the only one I still talk to in the family. When I brought Caleb to dinner for the first time, everyone liked him, but no one more than Alyssa. They quickly realized they had a lot in common: TV shows, books, even food preferences. They hit it off right away. I thought it was sweet. I never could have imagined what it would turn into. They became good friends, and I was actually happy that Caleb got along so well with my family. I had a great relationship with Alyssa at the time. We were closer in age than we were with Chris. Alyssa and I used to go on double dates with our partners and had fun doing it. Back then, she was always seeing different guys. Nothing serious. Every time we went out, she brought someone new. She even used to joke that it was too bad Caleb didn't have a brother because she'd totally date him. Sometimes she'd say Caleb was the perfect man and that I was so lucky. I always took that as a compliment, never thought much of it. I just assumed she was hyping him up. I never took it as a warning sign because I trusted her. I loved her. The idea that she could actually fall for him didn't even cross my mind. When Caleb proposed to me, and later when we got married, no one seemed happier than Alyssa. She was even my maid of honor at the wedding. So you can probably imagine how much it hurt when I found out, 5 years into the marriage, that they had been sleeping together behind my back. If you're wondering whether there were any signs, no, there weren't. Nothing ever pointed to it. I trusted Alyssa more than anyone in the world. I trusted Caleb too. In my mind, they were the last people who would ever hurt me. I was certain of that. For those 5 years, Caleb and I had a stable, calm relationship. We had a few disagreements here and there. He wanted kids, and I wasn't ready yet. He wanted me to cut back on work, but that wasn't realistic. I earned more than him, and our lifestyle depended on my income. He felt like I was too focused on my career, like I wasn't relaxed enough. I tried to explain to him that both of us needed to work hard if we wanted to live comfortably. Just for context, I work in investment banking. It's a demanding job, but I love it. It lets me pursue my goals and actually achieve something. Caleb works in marketing. He's good at it, but he never put in the same level of commitment I had for my work. And I genuinely loved what I did because it allowed me to build the life I wanted. So why was I the one who needed to work less? As for why I didn't want kids, the answer was simple. I just wasn't mentally or emotionally ready to be a mother. And I've always believed it's better not to do something at all than to do it badly, especially when it comes to parenting. I was scared I'd have a kid and regret it later. I was clear about that from the very beginning of our relationship. But for some reason, Caleb decided I'd change my mind the second we got married. Those two topics, kids and my career, were the main sources of tension between us. Like every couple, we had small fights, but those we always got over. Even when it got serious, we made up because I truly believed in our relationship. At least, I thought we were solid. Looking back now, I don't think we were ever on the same page. But the point is, no matter how bad things got, we always found our way back to each other. He constantly showed me affection, even just a week before I found out about the cheating. I never had a reason to suspect anything. Caleb didn't act shady. But 1 week after our 5-year wedding anniversary, I found out he'd been sleeping with Alyssa. Yes, my sister. Even at our anniversary party, he was acting like I was his whole world. Then everything came crashing down. A few days after that, I was digging through my closet looking for something. I can't even remember what, but I couldn't find it. I thought maybe I'd accidentally hung it in Caleb's closet. I had an important event coming up and was trying to find a specific blazer. While I was looking, I found a bag stuffed way in the back of his closet. Out of curiosity, I pulled it out and opened it. Inside, it was filled with women's clothing. At first, I was just confused. Then I started recognizing the clothes. They were Alyssa's. I was stunned. Nothing made sense. I had no explanation. I felt sick. That's when I decided to check his phone. For the first time ever. I had always trusted him completely. He trusted me too. Neither of us ever gave the other a reason to be suspicious. But in that moment, I felt like I had to do it. I didn't even want to ask him about the clothes, because I knew he'd come up with an excuse. I wanted the truth. I knew his passcode. I opened his phone and checked his messages. Of course, I looked for the chat with Alyssa. At first glance, it seemed innocent. But once I scrolled up, I saw how they really talked to each other. Friends don't talk like that. They were flirting, sexting, making plans to meet up. That's when everything clicked. All his late nights working made sense now. Their affair had probably been going on for months. And just my luck, Alyssa was at our house that day for lunch, so they were both sitting in my home. I brought the text and the bag of clothes to them and confronted them. I asked for an explanation. They didn't deny it. They didn't even pretend to be sorry. They flat out told me it wasn't my business and I needed to stay out of their relationship. If your husband is cheating on you with your own sister, I'm pretty sure that is your business. I lost it. I yelled at both of them. But they acted like it was nothing. Caleb had the audacity to tell me that since I wouldn't give him a child and didn't spend enough time with him, which was especially rich considering we both wanted to maintain our expensive lifestyle that I paid for, he had to find other options. And that he and Alyssa had great chemistry. Alyssa actually said I should be grateful it was her and not some random woman because then I'd really be embarrassed. They told me they weren't going to stop seeing each other. Now that I knew, there was no point in hiding it. They said the only reason they'd kept it secret was to avoid drama until Alyssa got a promotion and could move. And then Caleb would follow her. But now, she didn't care who knew. It was disgusting. I still don't understand how I got through it. After that, there wasn't much left to discuss. Neither of them felt any guilt. I wasn't about to forgive them. I filed for divorce. When I told my parents what happened, they immediately cut off Alyssa. Eric did too. The entire family turned their backs on her, and strangely, no one really suffered from that decision. A couple of weeks later, Alyssa moved to Pennsylvania, about a 9-hour drive from here. 3 months after that, once the divorce was finalized, Caleb followed her. He didn't fight me in court. He didn't file any counterclaims. He left everything to me. I think once he saw that Alyssa had a better job and salary now, he figured he didn't need to worry about my money or assets. He just wanted it over. I'm glad. It let me close that chapter fast. Since then, no one in the family has heard from her. We don't know where she is or what she's doing. And honestly, we don't care. The few friends of mine who still follow her online or talk to her know better than to bring her up to me. Long story short, I have no idea what's going on in her life. It's been 3 years, and I'm still trying to recover. They completely broke me. But a few days ago, all of it came rushing back when Caleb contacted me again. He called from an unknown number, and without thinking, I answered. The second I heard his voice, I regretted it. But curiosity got the better of me. He sounded desperate and shaken. He got straight to the point. Caleb was calling to ask for help. Bold, considering we hadn't spoken in 3 years, and the way things ended was, well, catastrophic. You'd think he'd start with an apology. But no. He jumped right in. He told me that a few weeks ago, Alyssa was in a car accident, and now she can't walk. She had both legs broken, and her arms were badly bruised. After the accident, they were left with their 2-year-old son needing full-time care. Caleb explained that he had already asked friends for help, but no one wanted to take on that kind of responsibility. He said he couldn't handle everything on his own, especially now that he had to work more. Alyssa was bedridden and needed round-the-clock care, and he simply couldn't take care of both her and a toddler at the same time. They even thought about hiring a full-time caregiver, but they couldn't afford it, especially living in such an expensive area. So they turned to family. First, they called my parents, but they said they were too old to help, though they also added that if they were younger, they would have stepped in. Caleb's own parents weren't an option either. His dad passed away a year ago, and his mom lives in Canada with her sister. They reached out to Eric too, but he told them he didn't want anything to do with them. The rest of the relatives weren't close enough to trust with their son, especially in such a delicate situation. That's when Caleb, in total desperation, called me. He practically begged for my help. After all these years of swallowing my pain and betrayal, I finally had the chance to answer. Once he explained everything, I just said I couldn't help, because it wasn't my problem. Then I hung up and blocked his number. I didn't even bother going into detail. Eric said I did the right thing. My parents, however, didn't agree. They think 3 years is long enough, and I should be able to move on, especially considering what Alyssa is going through right now. I honestly don't know what they're talking about. They think I'm being stubborn for refusing to help. but I think it's absurd that they would expect me to do this after everything Caleb and Alyssa did to me. I do feel bad for the kid. I really do. But he's not my responsibility. My parents keep calling me selfish, saying I should have at least taken time to think before turning them down. A few days have passed, and now they're putting pressure on me, and it's making me second-guess myself. Update 1. Hey, first of all, thank you so much for all the comments on my original post. I appreciate everyone who took time to write something. It meant a lot. As for my decision, I haven't changed my mind. I'm still staying out of their business, just like they told me to do years ago. My parents can think whatever they want about me. I don't care. They don't get to decide whether I should move on or not. I was the one hurt here, so only I get to decide how to deal with it. Yes, I feel for their son. But again, he's not my child, not my problem. If my parents are that concerned, they can take care of him themselves. Their excuse is that they're too old, but they're just a little over 60. They live normal lives, and nothing terrible would happen if they helped out for a few months. I honestly think they could manage, but they just don't want to. It's easier to dump it all on me. When I told them I wasn't going to change my mind, they said they were cutting ties with me too. They called me selfish and said they couldn't believe I'd act like this, especially with how badly Alyssa is suffering. But I don't see what's so unbelievable about it. These people betrayed me once. It's not complicated. I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. I haven't talked to Eric about it yet, but I'm sure he'll take my side like always. He's been busy with work lately, just started a new project, so it might be a few more days before we talk properly. In the meantime, I feel totally comfortable with my decision. I don't know what's going to happen to Alyssa, Caleb, or their kid. I truly hope they figure it out for the child's sake. But that's not my concern, so before I move on to the next update, feel free to comment. Do you think I made the right call? Should I have done something different and taken the child in, even temporarily? Do you believe that family always comes first? Update 2 high again. It's been about a week and a half since Caleb tried to contact me. I blocked him right after, and he hasn't tried again. But I heard from Eric that now Caleb's been trying hard to reach him. Even Alyssa has been texting. He's been ignoring all of it, leaving their messages unread. We finally talked a couple of days ago, and Eric told me he's also decided to cut off our parents. He said they've been acting irrational and selfish, which is kind of funny, considering that's what they've been accusing me of. Honestly, good. They had it coming. Now that they've lost Eric too, maybe they'll focus on Alyssa, but I doubt they'll help with her kid. I don't think they ever intended to. My parents are the kind of people who say they love their family, but don't lift a finger when it actually matters. I've seen it before with Eric's kids. A few years ago, his older son broke his wrist at a playground. He was 4 at the time. Eric's business was struggling then, and he asked our parents to loan him some money for physical therapy after the cast came off. They immediately shut him down, said they were suffering themselves and needed to save for retirement, said they don't just hand out money. Eric didn't push it. He respected their answer and never brought it up again. But I thought it was disgusting. So I'm not shocked they won't help with their grandson now. I just hope that when Eric and Alyssa both eventually keep their kids away from our parents, they remember exactly why. If they think their kids don't have the right to ask for help, then they don't have the right to demand time with grandkids whenever it's convenient. Just my opinion. As much as I hate Alyssa, and I really do, I still hope they all find some way to pull through. Update 3. This one's a bit long. It's been nearly 2 months since I first heard about Alyssa's accident. Neither she nor Caleb has reached out to me again, but I've stayed in touch with Eric, and he's kept me updated. I told him I'm okay with him messaging Alyssa if he wants to. To be honest, I've had this uneasy feeling in my chest since it all happened. I don't love Alyssa. I can't stand Caleb, but I'm not so cold that I want bad things to happen to them. And their son? He's innocent. He didn't ask for any of this. That's why I asked Eric to keep in touch and help if needed. Yeah, they're awful people, but I don't need to stoop to their level. I already got my piece when I told them no. That was enough. So, I supported Eric's decision to stay in contact, mainly so I could have peace of mind about my nephew. That's the only part that really matters to me. 2 weeks ago, Eric finally got in touch. Alyssa told him things were bad. They had to put their son in daycare, even though it's wrecking their budget. The area they live in is pricey, and the commute to and from daycare is long. Caleb has to work, and Alyssa can't do anything on her own anymore. They've fallen behind on rent. The only reason they haven't been evicted is because their landlord felt bad about Alyssa's condition and gave them a 2-month grace period. But after that, the rent's due. and they have no idea how they'll pay. Alyssa asked our parents for help again. They turned her down. Again. Said they needed to save for their future. I get it. Maybe they're afraid of medical expenses or whatever, but that doesn't mean we wouldn't repay them. It's not like we're grifters. Our parents act like we're scammers anytime money is involved. It's weird and offensive. But this time, Alyssa snapped. She told them she was cutting them off for good. No more contact. And you know what? As much as I dislike her and Caleb, I think they finally did the right thing. Our parents are toxic too. It's a miracle any of us turned out decent. At this point, they've lost access to all their grandkids. And soon, they won't even have access to their own kids. I'm not speaking to them. Eric's cut them off. Now Alyssa has too. They're alone, and I honestly think they deserve it. I feel nothing for them. As for Alyssa and Caleb, Eric and I talked about it. I told him I wouldn't be upset if he chose to help. I won't stand in his way. I personally can't get involved. I'm staying out of it. But I won't stop anyone else from doing what they think is right. Eric said he still hasn't fully forgiven Alyssa. What she did to me was awful. But now, he finds it hard to stay angry. She's in a terrible situation. And as her older brother, he can't just sit by while his nephew suffers. He knows the kid's having a hard time emotionally. So, we agreed. Eric is going to send them money every month until they get back on their feet. Honestly, I'm glad he's doing it. When Eric was going through his own rough patch, no one helped him either. Our parents did nothing. Alyssa and I tried, even if we weren't in a great spot ourselves. Unlike our parents, who had plenty and just didn't care. I'm not saying parents owe their kids everything, but they absolutely could have helped. They chose not to. So now, if Eric wants to help Alyssa, I think that's fair. He's repaying her for what she tried to do for him, even if she's made terrible choices since. My only concern has ever been their son. Now that he's being looked after, I can finally stop thinking about the whole mess. Honestly, I just want nothing to do with Alyssa or Caleb ever again.